to you live from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip. It's Golf and Other Four-Letter Words. And now your host, you've heard him on ESPN, Fox Sports, and Sirius XM Radio, Mr. Dennis Silvers.
Hey! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You could get very used to that very quickly. Thanks very much. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another jam-packed, action-packed edition of Golf and Other Four-Letter Words. As mentioned, I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we do have a very, very wonderful show for you tonight. So make sure you don't go anywhere for the next 30 minutes, because it's going to go by like this, because as I mentioned, it's action-packed. We got a lot of good stuff tonight with a very, very good guest. He is a friend of mine. He is a PGA teaching professional, been teaching in town here in Las Vegas for a long time, teaches a great variety of players. And also, Tom right now is the director of instruction out at one of our top-tier private clubs here in Las Vegas called Red Rock Country Club. So right now, let's give it up for my good friend, Mr. Tom Leese. Hey.
Thank you.
How are you, Tom?
Very good.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Tom is very accomplished in the game of golf. He's a very good player. He's a very, very knowledgeable teacher. Tom, over the last couple of years, is getting into, I can't say the author business, but you're writing a lot of articles, more and more, aren't you? Instructional articles.
It's unfortunate to be able to do that. It's really, a lot of fun.
Evidenced by the fact that right now, of course, if you live in Las Vegas and you picked up the Review Journal this morning, in the Golfing Las Vegas section, Tom has an article in there called Instilling Strong Work Ethic, Important When Working with Junior Players. And you do this every time this section comes out. Real quickly, how many juniors you work with, and what's the biggest difference in working with juniors as opposed to somebody a little bit older getting into the game?
I think with juniors, you're instilling behavior. A lot of times with adults, we're correcting behavior.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
So if we create good habits from the beginning, we establish those good habits, they take them with them.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to show them if they work hard at something and they develop good fundamentals on something, they're going to be good. They'll probably stay with them the rest of their lives.
Yeah, because, they're like sponges, obviously. As
Absolute
they just
sponges.
absorb all of this great stuff. And anyway, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. We've got a couple different ways for you to get a hold of myself or get a hold of Tom, if you want to send in some questions, some suggestions, some whatever, feel free to do that. Email, of course, is golf@vegasvideonetwork.com, and you can go to the website, vegasvideonetwork.com. We have a live chat button for you to hit to send in your questions or comments or whatever. Also, a toll-free viewer line, 866-966-4599. So no excuses for you not to get a hold of us. We'd love to hear from you, especially in Handicap Helper, because as I mentioned, Tom's a very, very good instructor. He's helped me a whole lot, and he'd like to help you with your questions towards the end of the show. Also, I don't want to be remiss. I want to mention Vegas Golfer, largest golf publication in the United States right now, published regionally. I'm sure Tom is very familiar with it. Great articles on regional golf courses, restaurants, instruction articles. They're very, very nice in that they stream Golf and Other Four-Letter Words on their homepage. So just simply go to lasvegas.golfersguide.com. You could check it out and get a hold of it. It is very, very nice. Also a big shout out to AM 1400 KSHP right here in Las Vegas. Friday night features, 6 to 10 o'clock. Where they replay all of the audio versions of all of the shows right here on Vegas Video Network. So if you're cruising around Friday night, coming back from the golf course, going out to eat, going to a hotel or whatever, check out AM 1400. You're going to hear some of the shows, and it's very, very nice. Big kick out of that. All right, four-letter word for tonight is simply the word iron. Okay, there it is. Why is it iron? Our guest tonight is pretty much of an Iron Man. I'll tell you, when it comes to teaching, not only in Las Vegas, but he teaches all around the world lately, and we're going to get into that a little bit later with Tom. Also, as you can see, Tom is in very, very good shape. He probably pumps a lot of iron as well. He's got a great workout, and obviously he can use an iron pretty darn well too, because look at this guy. Not a wrinkle in his shirt. Wow. You got the pretty good.
Wow.
You iron your own stuff?
I do.
You do,
see? Dennis.
How did I know that? No, you're looking good. So no wrinkles, that's what we call them. Tom, no wrinkles, Leese. There you go. All right, let's get to our first feature. We have a lot of fun with this. I'm anxious to talk to Tom about it. And this is a feature for you first-time viewers that we call Tournament Scorecard. All right, welcome back, everybody. Dennis Silvers with Tom Leese here on Golf and Other Four-Letter Words, Vegas Video Network. Tom, Sean O'Hair won the RBC Canadian Open A last week for his 4th PGA Tour victory over Chris Blanks, who came up blank, unfortunately, on the first playoff hole trying to save par. Always a nice story, at least for me, when you have a guy that has a chance to win his very first PGA Tour victory and does it. Unfortunately, in this case, as I mentioned, Chris came up a little bit short, but still a very, very nice finish for him. Does some nice things for Sean O'Hair, for instance, moves from number 143 on the money list to number 45 with $1.263 million. And also Chris Blanks, just as a tad over $1 million for his second place check. So good for Chris. Sean O'Hair, FedEx Cup race, winding down to it. Only about, 3-4 events left before they start the playoffs. Moves from number 147 to number 43 with 709 points. Moves up in the world rankings, of course, from 114 to number 60. And also, Tom, I want to ask you about this. I don't know if you watched the Nationwide Tour event. Won for the second time this year on the Nationwide Tour by an amateur from Georgia State, Harris English. What do you think of these guys coming out of the box and taking it away from these tour professionals? I think it's a great, great story.
You know, they're fearless. You know, and they're playing it at very high levels, what they play at. They're physically gifted. They're playing all year round, these guys, college Division I guys. And it takes a lot of courage. They step up there with those guys. They have no fear, and it's great. It's great to see that. Real good to see that.
And it's nice that another amateur finished for a T second. And, you know, we've been talking about it on and off over the last coming weeks. And you mentioned Division I golf now. These kids come out there ready with the training they get.
Oh, everything. Sure.
The regiment that they do, the competitive golf they play in high school and junior college and college. You're right, they're absolutely fearless. How do they keep it going, though, Tom, to transition when they actually do become professional and kind of keep that competitive mindset when they're doing this when it counts, so to speak, for a living?
That's a great question. We see that a lot in tennis, too, where you put so much in as a youth and you so much emphasis, so much time, and then when you get out there playing for money, you know, it changes a little bit. A good percentage of them might even play better when that's the case. You got to be playing for the right reasons out there, don't you, Dennis?
You have to be.
You know, it's a never-ending battle. You're struggling hard out there, and you're working all the time.
Well, let me just go back to the article you wrote that appeared in the Review Journal today. You said, if I'm not misquoting you, I think I'm saying it right, 10,000 hours to be a golf professional? Well, at least, though, right?
Actually, that comes from a book. It's a bestseller. It's called The Outsiders. The Outliners. And Malcolm Gladwell talks about for a human to master a task, whatever it is, it takes 10,000 hours of correct practice. And you think about that, whether it's a language, whether it's an instrument, or whatever it is.
Wow.
We get pretty good at it if we're doing it correctly.
I would think so.
And you think about how much time kids have put into it.
Yeah.
If they do it correctly through that time, and they have fun.
And they have fun.
Yeah.
That's important, because we've lost a lot of that,
well,
I think, in the game.
You talk about Sean O'Hair. He's had a precarious upbringing here in the golf business, in the golf too. And you know, this was a playoff for him that he won, but he sure has paid his dues in the past.
Yes, he has. And all, you know, and he's been quiet. He's had a very, very quiet year. Obviously, a young guy with a lot of talent, really having a below par, excuse the expression for him, kind of year. And all of a sudden, he just pops up and he wins. Canadian Open. Real nice to have on your resume. All right, we're going to step away, take a short break. When Tom and I come back, we're going to come back with favorite little thing we have in the show. You're going to enjoy it a lot. We call that Birdies and Bogeys. Stay with us. We're going to be back with you right after this.
This is David Ivey from Pub Crawl. It's funny because David from. You should just leave it on. Hi, I'm David Ivey from Pub Crawl, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network. And scene.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to one of my favorite segments here on Golf and Other Four-Letter Words. Dennis Silvers, Tom Leese. Birdies and Bogeys, you tell me what you think, Tom, if it's a birdie, bogey, or otherwise. Little tidbits, little gossip, little items from the tour, from some of my spies and stuff. Tiger's ex-wife, Elin Nordegren, it's rumored, has fallen for the son of a billionaire. Surprise, surprise. His name is Jamie Dingman. Okay, and it's rumored, Tom, that they've been together already for 7 months. Okay, I don't know if they were to get married. You know, I don't know. Elin Dingman, ED. I don't know. Let's just hope that the husband doesn't get married, I guess. I don't know. So what do you think about that?
You know, I think it's the glass, in the glass house, don't throw the stones here. You know, God bless her. She's been through so much. But I guess if she does get married, she'll lose that little dowry that she's got coming from Mr. Woods, won't she?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. She got, a report of $100 million and whatever.
I hope she's happy.
Yeah.
And I hope that wwhole thing gets resolved for everybody.
Yeah, I do too.
But
I do too.
We're
I kept saying on my radio show, Elin, I know 100 million. I could live in 100 million. Come to Vegas. Let's get together. Really, I could sweat it out with you. You know, we can struggle, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
You know, she's got a tough life, though. Let's go bogey there.
Yeah, let's go bogey.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Steve Williams.
Yeah.
Tiger's former caddy says he feels betrayed, and now predictably, as I mentioned a while ago on my show, he's planning on writing a book that will contain an interesting chapter on Mr. Woods.
You know, it's reading about that. I think that it is Tiger's a right to be able to do that. I just don't like the way he's handled it, Dennis. And because now we may see something come out because of that.
Yeah.
I believe he should have handled that much. These guys are friends. That relationship you have with a caddy, I mean, I'm just saddened by that. I'm just saddened, disappointed, and absolute bogey.
Absolute bogey. I agree with you. I agree with you. And I said if he does come out with a book, I think Stevie Williams is probably going to make more money with that than he has been looping, with Tiger for the last couple of years. Not that he didn't make a hell of a lot of money, and he did. He had a great run with him, but I agree with the way that it was handled. It was just not great. And it's not as if he was thrown out to the street.
No, he's
carrying for another former UNLV Rebel player right here, Adam Scott. So that's a pretty good loop.
Absolutely.
But Stevie, if you're counting on making the same kind of money with Adam that you did with Tiger, you better get a second job, pal, okay? Because it's just not going to happen. Scott, I think we've got live chat.
Yeah, I can see where writing the book's a bad thing, but what about just the idea of firing him anyways? I mean, do you think that's going to help his game?
It seems like he might have wanted have put that behind him. Like I say, I think it's his right to be able to fire him, but the way he did it was just not. I'm disappointed by that, and I think that's the way I would explain how I feel about Tiger. I mean, I was the biggest Tiger fan, and but I'm just disappointed.
Yeah,
I think I'm disappointed.
I agree, and I think most of the tour players that they've interviewed about it, whether publicly or secretly, agree with you. They said should have been done.
Right, a little more
different.
Absolutely,
a little different in mind. All right, I guess Tiger. Rachel Yucatel, Tiger's first public mistress, is suing celebrity lawyer Gloria Allred for suing Gloria Allred for receiving bad advice in relation to giving some money back to Tiger for a supposed confidentiality breach when she appeared on Celebrity Rehab. She wasn't supposed to talk about this deal at all. When she was on this program, she mentioned Tiger. She kind of hinted around at it, and Gloria said, look, Tiger is going to sue you, and if we go to court, you're going to lose. Give him some money back, and we'll see what we can do. Well, she did, and she just thinks it's bad advice, so she's suing Gloria to get the money back that she gave Tiger.
I just hope she has a good lawyer.
I hope so, too.
You know, and we'll see what happens there. You know, Dennis, I'm so happy that we didn't discuss these questions before. This is great gossip. But, gosh, it has to be a bogey.
It's got to be a bogey.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I do, too.
Oh, God.
I've had, when this whole thing started, and Gloria Allred was representing about 4 or 5 of Tiger's supposed mistresses. I had her on my show. In fact, I had an exclusive on that. She, very, very good guest, very interesting lady, Gloria Allred.
Brilliant.
So I'm going to follow this. We're going to see how it goes. All right, PGA Tour icon, I guess if you want to call him, Paul Azinger, the Zinger, pulled out of the Senior U.S. Open at the very last minute because he was afraid his game wasn't in shape. Birdie or bogey?
Well, I just wonder how hard he worked on it. And, gosh, I really don't want to comment on that. I haven't been in that situation to be able to say that, Dennis. Now, the good news is an alternate got in there.
Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't feel up to it, didn't want to disappoint his fans, you know?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple different ways to look at that.
I do too, and I understand, but, you know, this is not exactly, ho-hum tournament.
Yes.
You know, it's a major, the U.S. Open, you make a commitment to the sponsors and so on and so
True
forth.
story. He's been
And to
spending a
do
lot of
that,
time.
Yeah, and I know he's rehabbing on his game, and he's had some issues, but like you say, it could go either way, Tom. The good part about it is, the birdie part about it is somebody else got in. Somebody else took a spot. So that's the good part. So, all right, birdies and bogeys, everyone. All right, time for you to get your questions in to Tom because we're going to Handicap Helper where you could send in questions to help your game. Doesn't matter what facet, what part of the game it is. He's going to help you. He's going to help me. So take a listen because we're getting right now into Handicap Helper. Here we go. All right, welcome back, everybody. Tom Leese, Dennis Silvers, Golf and Other Four-Letter Words. Four-letter word tonight was iron. Okay, we're going to be talking about some irons in Handicap Helper. All right, Jamie writes to us and wants help keeping his posture all through his swing. He says he's up and out of it. Very common. It's a good question.
Very common, isn't it, Dennis?
How can you help?
You and I worked on that a little bit.
That's right. I got the same problem,
Same
Jamie,
thing.
so.
Well, you know, what happens is, Jamie, and I'm not sure how old you are, but by the time we get a little bit older, what happens is it's hard to maintain our dynamic balance and posture through the swing. Our hamstrings, our joints, you know, our back. The more you can stretch, the better athletically you get, the easier it is to maintain your balance through the swing, which is just critical in golf. Critical.
Yeah, and I think another word is stretching.
Stretching, any kind of exercising, it really will help you be more consistent. Yes.
Yep. Jonathan says he screwed up a good round because his drive on number 18 ended up in a divot, and he had trouble. How do you hit out of a divot? There you go.
Tough one there. That's kind of the breaks of the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Rub of the green.
The rub of the green. Well, you really need to place that ball back in your stance a little bit. You need to probably take an extra club and not overswing. Okay? The trajectory is not going to be the same, but we have to get that moving forward. Mm-hmm. So we want to take probably about a three-quarter swing, move it back in our stance, not be so active with our lower body on the back swing, and just make sure we make a good swing through to the target.
Do you want to hit it kind of on the thin side, so to speak, as to actually going down and taking the divot?
We're actually going to be going down at it. Because it's further back in the stance. Okay. So we're going to be creating
you're coming down steeper. And
you're a little bit, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Good advice, Jonathan. We hope it helps you. Scott, somebody on live chat.
Yes, sir. Bill, longtime viewer, wants to know, what's the difference between current PGA and senior PGA players? Is it a physical thing, or is it something else that makes it so they don't compete at the PGA level?
Wow. That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
It's physical stamina. It's the things just like that. It's like going and playing a basketball game with a kid 27 and a guy 50. I mean, really, the stamina that they have, the repeatability.
Yeah.
You know, the other side of the coin is the short game by the seniors is at a premium.
Absolutely. And that's what keeps them in the game.
And mentally, they're very, very strong.
Yeah.
Very, very strong.
But you're right. And you mentioned, you alluded to it, by the time you're qualified or eligible to become a senior, the physical prowess has gone a little bit. You don't hit it quite as far. Maybe some of the shots that you need to hit don't come that easy. And, with the kids today just bombing it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Scary. They just eat up these golf courses. And so it's a good thing they've got their own little tour to compete with their buddies on. But that was a very good question. Marvin needs help with distance control, Tom, on his wedge shots. Any solutions?
I love that one, Marvin. 70% of our shots are 60 yards and in. And we have that shot all the time, and we need to practice that correctly. There's a couple different methods. You can control distance, obviously, by the length of the club back and through. Mm-hmm. You want to go out to a place where you could either set up shafts or something at different distances and work on that. Try to work on your distance back and through. Work on your grip pressure. The good thing about working on pitching, we use that shot so often, and it really does help our full swing.
Yeah.
The timing and all those things. So go spend more time on that short game.
Yeah, have to. It's critical.
Absolutely.
Absolutely critical. Scott, somebody on live chat.
Yes, sir. Nate wants to know, what, if anything, can a PGA viewer look for on Sundays that could help their specific game themselves? In other words, can I glom anything by watching TV that would help me?
Sure. And we see things all the time and take them for granted. Watch their pre-shot routine. They'll never hit a shot in golf unless they go through a routine. It's like a pitcher. It's like a field goal kicker. It's like a free throw shooter in basketball. They go through a routine on every single shot. And we get up there and really, the average player gets up there without a routine.
Right.
And if the opposite of routine is kind of random, and that's our result.
Yeah.
So it's very important to watch what they do and keep an eye on that routine.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Wendy wants to know what she can do to keep from falling away from the ball after she hits it.
So she's falling backwards.
Right.
That's generally a sign of a reverse pivot, which means on the backswing, your weight is actually going forward. So we have no choice but to finish on the backside. There are many drills we can do. We can do throwing drills. We can be doing skipping a rock off water, where we want to make sure that right hip is getting to the finish at the end.
I like that.
And
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Jeffrey's having trouble slicing his fairway wood shots while his other clubs go seemingly straight. Any help? And I think this is a fairly common occurrence with fairway woods and maybe hybrids.
It really is. And also with driver,
Jeffrey?
too. There's a couple. Well, just by the general nature of having a club that's longer with a straighter face, unless that club face is really super square at impact, Dennis, we're going to have some curvature, right or left.
Yep.
What you probably want to do there is make sure that your grip is really good in that situation, and making sure that you're not overswinging in that situation. We get so involved with distance that we start overswinging, don't we?
Yep.
I think we're all guilty of that.
Yeah, very much so.
So make sure you're under control when you're making those swings. Go out and practice that.
Yeah. That's important. Tom wants some clarification on what is the proper club path away from the ball. That's a great question, Tom.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I wish we had some drawings here on the ground, because I have them at where I work. If 6 o'clock would be straight back, Dennis, if we can picture this, and 12 o'clock would be straight ahead.
Right.
Okay? We are a direct pendulum would be straight over top. We are not over top. So the perfect path for a right-hander would pretty much be taking it back square to about 6:30, through square to about 11:30 on the forward swing. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And it's very important. That's easier said here than done, but it's not a straight back. And 7 would be too far inside.
Yeah.
5 o'clock would be too far outside.
Yeah.
So a 6:30 to 11:30 path for right-handers, pretty acceptable.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And it's so important too, because the path and the club face, I mean, that determines your ball flight.
Exactly
so,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Scott, another live chat.
Yeah, Jerry just logged in. Jerry wants to know, is there something I can do to stop gripping my clubs so hard?
Let's put this down. Oh boy,
That's a good one.
We work on that every day. That is well. First of all, and I'd like to work with you on this one. We need to make sure that we're holding the grip in the correct part of our hand.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're using the thumb and the forefinger, it gets so tight that our forearms get so tight.
Yeah.
There's not an athletic event we could play with that much tension.
Right.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, I think we like to use this a lot as teachers. 10 would be I call that the Vulcan death grip, as tight as we could hold it. 1 would be a pencil. Really good grip pressure would be between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Now it's going to get tighter through the swing.
Sure it does. Has to, naturally.
But we're holding it tight enough to keep the face square.
Yeah.
Any more tension than that,
Yeah.
it's going to slow down the speed, isn't it?
And I think another hint, if the veins in your neck start popping, you definitely
Aren't you
have a
afraid that
death
if you
grip.
hold it too loose, that at the end of the swing, the
Well,
glove
Comes flying
leaves
out of your hands. Absolutely.
We need to hold it secure, but not tight.
Yeah, but
okay?
not tight.
Okay.
Not tight. Great advice. Great advice. All right, you can take that advice. Hope you go play this weekend. If not, we've got some great golf on television for you to watch. PGA Tours in action, the Greenbrier Classic at White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia.
Beautiful.
Of course, a lot of history there. LPGA Tour's got a major, the Rico Women's British Open, in a great facility, Carnoustie in Scotland. Champions Tour, we mentioned earlier, the U.S. Senior Open in Toledo, Ohio. Nationwide Tour, the Utah Championship. Can you guess where that is? Yep, Sandy, Utah. And the European Tour has the Irish Open in Killarney, Ireland. So that's always a good one also. We only got about a minute or two left, Tom. I mentioned Director of Instruction at Red Rock Country Club. Can somebody get a hold of you to come out and take lessons? Can you help them? Even though you're at a private facility.
Well,
and if so, how do they get a hold of you?
There's 2 golf courses at Red Rock. There is the Arroyo, and there is the Mountain course. The Mountain is the private.
The private.
And please, absolutely, anybody is welcome up there. Call me. Can I give out my number?
Yeah, or your email.
Or my email. My number is 702-858-2498, and my email is tom@mastergolflasvegas.com.
Easy enough.
Yeah, and I'd love for you to give me some comments, what you think about tonight, and appreciate being on here, Dennis.
Okay. All right.
Really do.
and a nice 70 at Dragon Ridge the other
Oh,
day.
man.
Congratulations.
You snuck
Third
that one on me,
place.
huh?
No, that's
Thank
okay.
you.
That's good playing.
Thank you.
That's good playing.
Thank
Good job. Good job. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Golf and Other Four-Letter Words. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, for Tom Leese. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Keep the cards and letters coming, as they say. And we're going to be right back, same place, same time next week. And no, we are not. We are not. We may take a little hiatus for whatever reason, but probably see you in a couple of weeks. So until then, thanks for hanging with us, everybody. And we'll look for you back later. So long.